In the Chandogya Upanishad, the Brahma Vidya that Shwetaketu received from Yamaruni, I will briefly describe that Brahma Vidya, which benefits innate intelligence. Shwetaketu, immersed in the arrogance of having studied the Vedas, was not introspective. To make him introspective, the Guru spoke astonishing words. When the one principle is known, everything that was unheard seems to have been heard. What was unknown becomes known, and what was not understood becomes understood. If one attains the knowledge of the Rig Veda, then the Yajur Veda and other Vedas can also be known. Therefore, complete knowledge can be obtained through a single intellect. This is a supernatural fact. However, this is not seen in ordinary clay, copper, iron, etc. That by knowing clay, all objects made of clay can be clearly known. Pots, pitchers, and other such items are made from clay. Due to various forms of defects, they appear different. But if one has knowledge of clay, then all of that becomes understandable. Anything said to be incomprehensible does not hold true. The form of the pot is based on the foundation it rests upon, which is clay. Clay is the foundation, and form is the shape. Together, they make the pot. If only the base, clay, is known, then the pot is also considered known. Just as touching the tail of a cow is regarded as touching the entire cow, in the same way, this knowledge is also complete. Just as the knowledge of form alone denies the knowledge of the pot, in the same way, when the base is known, why should the pot not be considered known? Both form and base share an equal part in knowledge. Without clay, the pot cannot be seen by form alone. Objects like a pot and others are produced from the material cause, which is clay. The logician says that the clay in the pot is distinct yet present within it. He argues this with his reasoning, but it is not accepted in the world. If the clay in the pot is considered separate, then what is its essence called? Does it begin only with speech, or is it truly brought separately? Tell me. If it begins only with speech, then it is nothing, like a flower of the sky, bathing in the mirage water, making a crest from sky flowers, and a barren woman's son. All these are meaningless and untrue. Even the wise cannot separate a pot from the clay. Therefore, it is appropriate to accept that the pot is false, not true. You spoke of a concomitant relation, but we accept a relation of imputation. Just as a pillar is imputed to a thief, similarly, a pot is imputed to clay. Before and after the imputation, its absence is there. Therefore, it is untrue. That which is not at the beginning and the end is likewise untrue in the present. That which remains constant through all three times is the pillar of truth. In the same way, clay is also truth. This should be observed. The mixture of truth and untruth is called a pot. The names clay and pot, knowledge and behavior, are experienced separately, just as the pillar and the thief also appear as distinct forms. A discerning person, even while knowing, behaves in two ways, but his intention remains in the clay, not in the pot-like untruth. Sugarcane contains juice, and it also has fibers. The wise only consume the juice. Similarly, in the pot, one should give importance only to the clay part. The part of the soil in items like pots should be respectfully recognized. They are all known through collective knowledge. Although soil is one, it is pervasive in all its forms, but distinct from the titles of those forms. When there is pure knowledge, everything appears as refined intellect. The true part in bangles and such is known by the intellect of gold, and the true part in axes and such is understood as iron.
Whatever work is done, its intellect is formed from its own material.
Many examples have been given in the scriptures to explain this pervasiveness. If the material for the entire creation were the same, as stated in the scriptures, then by knowing one, everything would be known. So where would the supernatural be? Hearing comes from the teacher and scriptures. Reflection comes from one's own reasoning. And knowledge comes from one's own experience. There should be no mixing of hearing, reflection, and deep meditation. When Shwetaketu believed that knowledge alone makes all knowledge possible, he turned inward and was told the material cause of everything. This world, which today is seen with name and form, before creation was only Sat, without name and form. Just as clay, copper, and iron, the objects produced from them were only the material cause before their transformation. Similarly, this entire world was originally the same.
Because it is free from distinctions of self-species, cross-species, and arising differences, that true entity is uniquely one. Understand it in this way. The inherent difference of a tree is due to its branches and other parts. The same species difference is from another tree, and the cross-species difference is from a stone, etc. But truth has no parts. Therefore, it is indivisible. Hence, it has neither sameness nor difference. Both are weak arguments. These three distinctions are negated by words like one, etc. The entity that is free from all distinctions is the indivisible truth. Behold that. Existence. This word and intellect both appear as name and form. Due to their absence, there was only void before creation. This is what the non-Vedics say. But if this creation, endowed with name and form, is considered to have arisen from void, then it is not correct. Just like the birth of another child from a barren woman, this is impossible. If the cause is void, then the name is also void. The form is also void. Such a thought is improper. The perception of void never manifests, but the manifest knowledge of existence does. Therefore, it is certain that the cause of the entire creation is existence itself. It resolved, I shall become many, and through Maya created the universe. If there is indeed multiplicity, then the non-dual reality, Advaita Sat, would be destroyed. However, the Shruti statement, it does not perish, has been used to explain the vast creation. Prakarsha means an increase compared to before. That Maya is neither real nor zero because it is flawed. Even when plurality arises from Maya, the non-dual reality, Sat Advaita, is not destroyed. Because the forms of Maya cannot have any duality, independent existence, Maya is an inconceivable power. It makes the impossible possible. It is because of this Maya that Sat is called the material and efficient cause. I become many. This indicates the material cause, like clay. He desired. This is the efficient cause, like the potter. In the special nature of Maya, the shadow of consciousness is what constitutes its initiation, desire. Having seen with determination, he generated the light. This was his play. The Taittiriya Upanishad says that first the creation of space and air occurred, and the Aranyaka sage said that the origin of creation was light itself. The explanation of creation is made only to indicate Brahman, because it is actually impossible to describe the fullness of this world. Although Tejas, light energy, is inert,
it still has the veil of Maya. Therefore, first, like the true Brahman, the resolve of that light took place, and then water was produced from it. The same covering is present in water. Then from it, Brahma created the earth and food. From light, water, and food, the seeds of the body were produced. From the perspective of birth, there are three types of beings: those born from eggs, those born from seeds, and those born from sprouts. For entry into these forms of life, Brahma made a resolve. Then he saw and created the deities of light, water, and food. From them, by mixing the three, the triad, he created the body and so on. In light, parts of water and food were mixed to form the triad. Similarly, mixing should be done with the other two as well to form the triad: fire, water, and food. These three elemental qualities were used to create egg-born bodies, and Brahma entered into all of them as the soul. If ego is combined with consciousness and holds the life force, then that is called the living being. It pervades the entire body. Thus, by attributing the form of illusion to the true substance, the creation of the world was made. To remove that ignorance-born attribution, one should contemplate. The process of creation of the three elemental mixture was explained by the thinkers from the very beginning. In fire, there are also portions of water and food present. The redness in the flame is the form of fire. In it, there is a little white, the portion of water, and a little black, the portion of earth. Thus, fire consisting of three forms is called physical fire. That which begins without cause and only nominally is futile. In this way, this sequence began to explain the falsity of the visible world. The origin of the visible, ocular world is explained through these three: light, water, and food. The sun, moon, and lightning. In these two, the knowledge of falsity like that of fire should be understood. By understanding their spread, the falsity of their function should be estimated. If the falsity of these three functions, light, water, and food, is established, then only the non-dual reality remains. The cause of all these is the reality itself. This is the view of the earlier scholars. What is external in the visible is physical, but this is not so in the body. It is the folly of the ignorant that the body is also called physical. The earthly food that is eaten transforms into intellect, flesh, and waste, in subtle, middle, and gross parts in this body. The transformation of water results in prana, life force, blood, and urine in three forms. The transformation of fire results in speech, marrow, and bones, like ghee, oil, etc. The sequence of causes is evident in the gross and middle parts. Doubt in intellect, prana, and speech is explained by the example of curd. Just as the curd portion, dissolved in curd, is not visible yet, the activity of the curd present within it is universally accepted. Similarly, the mind, life force, and speech, though produced from the activity of food and so on, since they are beyond the senses, the direct cause is not observed. The logician says that the mind is an eternal substance and is not produced from food. It is explained by the example of a spark. Just as when the wood ends, the spark appears only like a firefly. But as the wood increases, the fire is ignited. Similarly, knowledge and mind increase. The mind becomes weak within 15 days of giving up food. Therefore, Shwetaketu became unable to remember anything. But as soon as the mind was nourished by food, at that very moment he recalled the Vedas. From this, It is proven through inference and negation that the mind is made of food. When the materiality of the whole is thus established, then whatever exists besides the elements does not exist, just as the elements themselves are not different from the true reality. The non-dual truth, Advaita Sat, is the cause of the world which Shwetaketu realized. But his individual existence does not end with this alone.
But when he realizes his Brahman form, the sense of individuality is destroyed. Thinking this, the Guru again inspires that disciple.
Know the end of the dream, which I clearly explain with my mouth. Understand clearly that your true nature in deep sleep is the essence of truth, Sat Tattva. When a person attains deep sleep, Sushupti, people say, he has slept. And the meaning of this word should be considered. The ignorant regard the word swapiti as a verb, but the wise consider it a noun, which reveals the true nature of reality.
In dream and waking states, the living being appears different from the true essence, Sat Tattva. But in deep sleep, it becomes completely one with Sat. The soul's being alive is not due to the breath. It is not inherently so. Its true nature as Sat is self-evident. This is clear from the word swapiti, sleep. Swam api iti, meaning situated in itself. This is the etymology of the word. The true nature is attained in deep sleep. It is said so. The states of waking and deep sleep are attributes of the mind, not of the soul. For this reason, the intellect is explained by the bird analogy. The bird tied with a string flies in various directions, but when it finds no support in the sky, it returns to its place of bondage. Similarly, when the mind is inspired by the true essence and attains awakening, and when it finds no rest there, it merges again into the true essence. The shadow of the soul always comes and goes with the mind. This movement and obstruction is the world, and it is imagined within its own soul. When the mind is absorbed, the attributeless soul becomes free from the world and remains in deep sleep in its true form. The shadow of consciousness, the gross body, and the senses are the gateways to self-realization. The mantra says, Rupam Rupam, which clearly indicates this. In every body, the soul is reflected in the form of a shadow for self-awareness. Through Maya, God has created various types of bodies for self-awareness. Equipped with the chariots of the senses, the soul, in order to know its own nature, takes refuge in the shadow and attains awareness in the description of the dormant state. Through the statements of ashana, hunger, and pipasa, thirst, the soul becomes perceptible in the body. Just as the word swapiti, similarly, this duality is called ashanaya pipasa. People express hunger, ashanaya, by calling it kshuddha. The wise analyze it and explain that it carries the eaten substances, just as water does. The water that is drunk dissolves the eaten food and carries it. Therefore, the term ashanaya conveys this meaning, and waste, flesh, etc. originate from food. The producer of food, grain, which causes feces and flesh, is water. The producer of water is fire, and the ultimate cause of fire is Sat, the supreme element. The cause should be inferred through its effect. In the same way, the ultimate cause, that is, Sat, should also be known. Feces and other effects arise from food, and food itself is produced from Sat. Just as a pot is seen only in clay and not in any other substance, similarly,
Grains like rice exist only in Sat, not in water. And water itself exists only in fire, heat, in the form of
The subtle form of Tej, light, cannot arise without Sat, existence. And there is no cause for the origin of Sat, therefore no other cause should be sought. All bodies originally arise from Sat, and even now reside in it, and ultimately they merge back into that same Sat. Know that Sat alone is the non-dual principle. Just as there is no physical object other than the elements, the five great elements, similarly, the elements themselves are nothing apart from Sat. This has been proven by reasoning. Through Ashnaya, hunger, the intellect was introduced into the Sat principle. Now through Pipasa, thirst, the intellect is also brought down into that Sat. The word Udnya, related to water, is synonymous with thirst. The wise understand this. Udakam Jayati, conquers water. In this sense, it is used in relation to fire, Tejas. The water that is drunk is located in the body and digested by fire, Tejas. Then from it, urine and blood are produced. Both of these arise from water because they are fluids. From both urine and blood, water is inferred. From them, fire, Tejas, and then existence, Sat. Understanding this vastness, again the plan, expansion, of existence, Sat, is said to be in everything. The organs, limbs, that are in the body are the same substances outside as well. In all of them, only the form of existence, Sat, should be established. Physics was first explained in terms of the body and the external. Now, to understand it through the gates of the senses, the process of dying, the process of death, is described. At the time of death, tendencies such as speech are absorbed into the mind. The tendencies of the mind are absorbed into the life force, prana, and the tendencies of the life force are absorbed into the vital energy, tejas. When the breath stops, people confirm life by the warmth of the body, but that warmth is the vital energy, which ultimately merges into the truth, Sat. The substance known through the shadow body and the sensory gates, that very entire universe, with the most subtle form, is nothing other than that. Due to grossness and subtlety, an object appears in two forms, even though it is one. The gross object is perceived by the senses and is called the world of names and forms. Sat Advaita, absolute non-duality, is subtle because it is not an object of the senses, and this subtle form is the basis of the gross. This has been stated logically. The object whose subtlety has been described is the truth because it is never disturbed. Grossness is imagined due to illusion. It is obstructed by knowledge. That which is never disturbed is the self. Of all, it is not imagined. O Shwetaketu, the non-dual truth is you. You are not an ordinary human being. Only the ego, imbued with the shadow of consciousness, studies all four parts of the Vedas. But you are the witness form of that ego. Therefore, you are that Sat and nothing else. The knot in Shwetaketu's heart was untied by discernment, and to remove the faults and doubts of the intellect, he said, "Please explain again." It is said that the living being merges into Sat during deep sleep. If that is so, then why is there no intellect that says, "I merged into Sat"? Just as the juices of various trees combine to form honey, but the juice of each tree is not known in the honey. Similarly, there is no intellect in all the rhythms. Here, there is a continuity of the living being's designations.
but something remains in the seed form, because of which the same designated living being awakens the next day in the same body. This doubt should not be brought into the topics of concentration of the mind. What was said earlier, the Guru explained again for understanding. Considering himself wise, yet doubting the principle, Shwetaketu repeatedly asked questions, and the Guru repeatedly gave answers. Even though there is no intellect in deep sleep, intellect is present in waking state. Then why is there no knowledge of, I have come from the Sat, truth? In deep sleep, the soul becomes one with the Sat, the absolute truth. But upon waking, it does not remember this. Just as water becomes clouds and rains down, yet does not know its original state. The water of the Ganges merges into the ocean, becomes clouds and rains again. But it does not realize that it is the same water. This is the condition of the soul as well. Due to the influence of desires, tigers and others awaken again, which clearly shows that desires remain even in deep sleep. This point is reiterated here. If it is said that the mortal soul cannot be eternally one with the Sat, the answer is, the soul is never destroyed. Just as life remains in a tree even when a branch dries up. The branch in which the life resides withers when the life departs from it. Other branches do not wither. Similarly, the body dies only when the life leaves it. When the gross body, endowed with name and form, merges into the Sat being, how then did the subtle Sat arise? If this is asked, consider the example of the banyan tree from the seed. A skeptic cannot understand what is established by logic and scriptures. O Shwetaketu, have faith and turn inward. If Sat is everywhere, then why do all not know it? How does one who desires liberation know it? An illustration of this is given. Just as salt dissolved in water is not perceived by the skin, but is recognized by the tongue, similarly, Sat, the truth, is not known through the senses, but through a means. When Sat is not accessible to the senses, the means to know it is instruction, just as the path to Gandhara is shown. A person whose eyes were bound by robbers, through the guidance of a compassionate one, was freed and reached Gandhara. In the same way, a being covered by ignorance, when grasping instruction, comes to know Sat. For the wise, the bondage of accumulated and future karma is destroyed. When the portion of karma to be experienced, prarabdha, is exhausted, they become free. There is no rebirth. If asked, what is their intellect like? Just as the speech and other senses of a fool are, so is theirs. But there is no special difference between them. Two people died at the same time, but one became free and the other did not. Why is that? The reason is that the wise is established in truth, the fool in untruth. Just as both the thief and the innocent were caught under suspicion of theft, both said they did not steal. Yet an investigation was conducted. He was placed on a heated axe. The one who spoke falsely was burned. He was considered a thief and punished. The one who was truthful and not a thief did not burn and was freed. Similarly, the ignorant burns with falsehood. The wise remains established in truth. The one who feels, I am mortal, dies and is reborn. The one who feels, I am Brahman, is liberated, does not take birth. These parables have been given to remove the defects of the intellect. The Guru repeatedly gave the same teaching. You are Sat, said 9 times. The knot in Shwetaketu's heart was cut by contemplation. Doubt was eliminated. He specially experienced the non-dual nature of Sat in his own soul. Thus, Shwetaketu's knowledge of Brahman was clearly explained. May Vidyatirtha Maheshwara be pleased with us and bless us.